Okay. Sorry, probably you didn't see. Okay.
We're just watching the Educandus page.
Okay. Let me check. Oh, I hope you can see. Now you will see the rubrics. What I was explaining to you is that it will have 5 bands to grade you. See, from 0 to 7. I will make some changes here, but I will upload a new document. It's just a number I need to change. And as I was explaining, there is a lot of qualitative descriptions, the quality of your work. For the quality of your work, of course, that you respect number of words, yes, and the tasks, the sections of the tasks, but that you express yourself fully. That's the idea that we have, yes, with the written communication, that you keep on the topic, that you're coherent, cohesive, that you care about the topic, the content, you keep talking about one topic. You're creative in your communication, and your reflections also show the process of learning. So it's a very qualitative instrument, but that will give me an idea of your progress in thinking and also learning, and in writing, also to develop language and use the vocabulary, everything you're learning. So this is a good opportunity. So this is the rubric that's on Educandus. And the final, okay. So remember that each week we will have a presentation, yes? The activity, the weekly activity that you're going to prepare about the standards. And this is, again, following the 5 levels, yeah, and the aspects on which you're going to be very similar to the one we did last semester, yes, adapted to this activity, and with some comments at the end. So it's very similar. It's very similar. You need to prepare. Remember, you need to prepare a short presentation, an activity that includes, that makes input comprehensible, so your classmates have to understand what you're talking about. You prepare some materials. Is it here? Yes, around here. Necessary materials. So remember, I wrote in the description that you were going to prepare handout and everything, or any other. So something your classmates can have to revise or to work with the materials. That's the idea. It's not very long, 10 minutes of every class. So around, after housekeeping, after reminding you some issues, we will start. That will be the start of the class, and then we will continue. So it's live, it's done live. So it should be quick, and that will be something creative to do every week. So I think it's a good idea. Folder called reading materials. And in reading materials, you will find the scanned versions of the chapters with which we're going to work. So chapter 1 is only, this is the cover of the book, an introduction to child development. This is the, chapter 1 is only as a reference. We're going to see some important concepts only. And if you want to read about these concepts, you go to that chapter. And then chapter 2, we will divide among you to read. I will explain later. But that's the material. Those are the materials there. Just I wanted to explain this. Okay, so we are ready with this section of housekeeping. New materials. All right, I can go back to, all right. Okay. I can go back to You can do a Zoom. I will eventually. Okay. To my old computer. When I get the charger, a new charger. Okay, so we're here. So again, as I said, today you will have a new task. Those that haven't finished the old task, you keep on working and upload it to Educandos, as I showed you. So always in every week, just check if there are new materials or tasks. And I was talking at the beginning, and I think there were people who were not here, but you have a task created on Educandos to upload last week's task. I hope that is that you can find, everyone can find the task. Yes. Here, the reading strategies task. After that, okay, we go back to our presentation. Okay, I'm getting used to it. All right. Okay. So can you see Educandos now?
Yes.
Okay, now
yes.
the presentation. Okay, so I have to go back from one to the other. So, and check the new documents I have just shown you. The portfolio, the rubrics, and the checklist. So those are reminders for this week. Remember that this is one of the group work we were going to do, is that you will prepare activities with the pedagogical standards. And today we're going to have the lottery for that activity. You're going to organize it, and you will prepare a short presentation, an activity, and materials for on a handout. Yes, the handout is something short. Yes, it's a short activity, matching or completion, whatever you want to do for classmates to complete, to work with. And so you will have materials from every week, and from every different group or pair to remember to revise the standard. So as we said last class, you already have thought about these activities. You had wonderful ideas, so please put them into practice, and let us have 10 minutes each class in which you will be the moderators and the people working with it. So the pairs, so I know what I wanted to do in this slide is to write your names. Valentina Salinas works with Magdalena and Liliana. Is that the group? Yes? Then the rest of you, Marjorie. Marjorie and, so please check on Joanna. Yes, and Joanna. And Joanna, okay. Pablen, something different. Okay, yes. Fernanda. Fernanda and Barbara, yes. Who else? Okay. Oops, no, it's not working. Fernanda and Barbara. Veronica.
And Elizabeth.
And Elizabeth. Okay, and Valentina Bravo. And Camila. Is that one?
Yes, Camila Avila.
Yes, Camila. Okay. Do we have anyone? Yes, Constanza, Carolina, can you work together?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we will have everyone here and the standards. So I will write here. So I will stop. Hopefully I can. Okay. So I have a bag here with a little, some kind of drawings, which I love. I love them. And the standards here. So each group will have, I don't know whether 2 standards. I don't know. Well, maybe we will have to repeat some, but at the least we will do 1 round, and then we will go back again to the standards. Okay, so 1 person, let's see, Barbara. Barbara, which one would you like? You look, you have pink, yellow, blue.
Yellow.
So there are 2 yellows. Right or left or right?
Right.
This one?
Yeah.
Am I right? Okay, so standard 8. Standard 8. We won't start in order. Okay. Valentina? Valentina says pink. Okay, we have 2. Left or right? The first one, this one, or this one? Oh, wait, on my right. Okay, the first one on my right is standard 4. Standard 4. We did a lot about standard 4 last. Okay, so Marjorie, standard 5. Okay. So which color? Veronica? We have green, white, pink, and yellow.
Pink.
Pink. Pink is standard 9. And we're doing a lot of standard 9 this semester in this module specifically. We have green, white, 1 yellow. The green ones? No one likes green. Camila?
I think that Camila is not here.
Probably not here. Okay, so we'll give them 1. Who is missing? Who's missing? No, Carolina, Constanza. Oh, Carolina.
The light blue.
Light blue, this is like greenish, and we have 3.
Right.
The right here.
Yeah.
Standard 7. That's a nice standard. We haven't talked much, so it will be very standard 10, and then Valentina Salinas. Then we will have to repeat some of them. That's no worry. Valentina Salinas, we have 2 whites and a yellow. Yellow, standard 3. Standard 3. Okay, standard 3, Valentina. 3 and 4, Valentina, Magdalena, and Liliana. Okay, Barbara and Fernanda. Have 2 white. Right or left? Right or left?
Left.
Left. Okay, standard 1, and that means Barbara and Fernanda are starting next week. That's good news. Okay. Here. Okay, Barbara and Fernanda, you will start next week. So your first presentation will be presentation the 28th. We will revise. Okay, we will remember this every step. We will remember this, and then Camila will be on the for the time being, presentation. The 5th of October, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have a holiday. And we have again the 19th will be here. Okay, so but I will always remind you beforehand. September. Okay, for the time being, it is like this. But then Valentina, you will have like 2 weeks in a row. We will change here with Joanna and Marjorie, and you will exchange there 1 week. And finally, we have Veronica and Elizabeth, standard 6. But we will do another round as the weeks go by and we are all organized. So everyone will be presenting at least once. Here, Marjorie and Joanna will have to change with Valentina so that they don't have 2 weeks in a row. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So we will have here. All right. But we will still have here. Okay, so probably. Okay, we will see there when we arrive to that point. Probably we will have another lottery so that the girls have here some. So for the time being, that will be it. So you have standard 3. So we have the first week, next week, Fernanda and Barbara, then Camila and Valentina Bravo, and then Magdalena and Liliana and Valentina, and Joanna and Marjorie. From then on, we will go again, we will do again another lottery. All right. 19th October. Yes, 19th October. Sorry. Yes, October. Sorry, my fault. October. Yes, okay. I will write this in clean for next week, but Barbara and Fernanda know you have 10 minutes. If it is shorter, it's okay. Up to 10 minutes, next class. All right. We'll go back. I will go back to, all right. Yes. What else do we need to do today? Okay, that's it. Then any other questions about the module? So here it is again, what is group work? Remember that we have a specific kind of amount of tasks that we can do in groups. Of course, I know that if we were in face-to-face classes, we would do a lot in work, groups in work, group work. Every day we will have something to do in groups, some reading, some writing. But this modality needs us to be able, since we need much more control over that we have. Okay. Okay, yes. Yes, Valentina. Yes, only 3. Okay. So the idea is that you work in pairs or in groups. For example, for your oral exposition, and then in your portfolio when you work with the lesson plan. But then the rest you will need to do alone, since work at a distance also needs a little bit of more independence on your side. So that's why the decision has been made in this way. So only 30%, it could be a 40% of the evaluations can be done in groups. And of course, you know, your portfolio, mainly you're working on your own, the reflections are your own, each work. Of course, you can connect with others and check some understanding. But the point, the best thing is that you work on your own, mostly in writing and in reflecting. Remember that Also some kind of personal growth. Okay, the learning styles. Could you do this test? Oh, sorry. The learning styles test. I saw that some of you uploaded it to the task on Educando. In Educando. So what can you say about your learning styles? Anyone? What can you say about that?
I am more visual and auditory. Yeah.
Okay. Visual and auditory. And how do you learn better? Which activities are better for you?
I don't know. I make a lot of summaries and also mind maps. It helped me to remember the information.
Okay, so summaries and map. Okay, and mind maps. Mind maps. And that
And also,
connections, those connections.
I use many colors to highlight the information.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. I also need colors. I also that's why I thought of creating this color coding for the evaluations, since I can remember them better and say, okay, this one, and I have the same for every class. So for every module, portfolio is blue. So I know that whichever module I'm doing, portfolio is blue. So that helps me also have a unity, because otherwise I would go crazy if I couldn't see. So that's my visual part. Okay, and mostly we learn about words easily. Okay. Any kinesthetic person? Because I think the majority will fall into this. Any one of you is kinesthetic? We have someone in the chat. Kinesthetic? Any person? Okay. Yes, Marjorie, we will check by the end. Yes. Nobody? What do you think a kinesthetic person needs? My niece is a kinesthetic person. She needs to be doing extra activities, extra school activities all the time, because she cannot be sitting down for a long time. So she concentrates better if she's dancing, for example, for a while. So she goes to dancing classes in between, so that will help her connect to her more academic work. But imagine all those children who are kinesthetic and cannot be sitting down for a long time in class. That's why there have been new activities created, or more kinesthetic activities brought into the class, into the classrooms. And for example, as we saw, you saw some of them in the videos from the University of Oregon. For example, what I used to see in the United States are for example, the stations. So you have different stations around the classroom, and students go walking from one station to the other, doing different things. So those are ideas to include kinesthetic students who will not be sitting down for 2 hours writing or reading. Magdalena, okay, Fernanda says visual and kinesthetic. Fernanda, yes, okay, here we have a kinesthetic person, so she needs to do a lot of practical things with her hands. And auditory is Magdalena. So auditory people need to listen. So all those people learning from the TED Talks, for example, that's great. Also music, If you listen to music, you can remember. I used to do that when I studied, listen to music and then remember what I was reading at that time. So sometimes the mind works in different ways, and we have to find that way in which we learn better. If it is with music, it is with music. Anything that gives you more concentration, it's okay. And focus. So as I told you, we're going to work a lot with Standard 9. Since it is of all the pedagogical standards, the one that concentrates a lot on the disciplinary growth of the teachers. And so it is more related to how teachers communicate, what they know, how they communicate, how they receive information. Okay. Magdalena is sending more information. Okay, great, Magdalena. So people more kinesthetic need to do things with their hands. As I said, create, manipulate things. For example, create something to understand if you're thinking of learning about the solar system for children, then have the planets in a way in which they can see the planets like hanging. There are these kind of mobiles that you can create by creating the planets and hanging them, for example. So thinking of children. In the case of adults, you need to do something practical as well. So you will be great in creating the materials to work with your classmates. And we saw, for example, Fernanda, how kinesthetic she is when she did the videos last semester. So she had everything, was moving all the time, picking up things and having things to deal with. So Realia, the book, if she was talking about the book, she had the book. So remember also with little children, this is very important since they need the concrete elements to work with, to see, specifically when they are learning a new language. So those are great, great materials to transfer also to your situation of students and with the future students, as teachers and with your future students. And as I was saying, pedagogical standard 9 is the most disciplinary of all of the standards. And it focuses on the teachers and how teachers develop their knowledge, both in speaking and writing, and how they develop their knowledge in everyday life teaching situations. So, so they learn how to listen and interpret and read. So these are receptive skills, but we also have this standard in the more communicative skills when they write or speak. So we have both. And also in developing the language, we have both sides. We have a side in which we receive information, we read, we listen. Yes, so receptive skills, and also then we have the expressive skills in which we speak and write. So I was telling you, for example, that for the final evaluation, you will be doing along the semester a lot of writing and speaking. So those will be the practice for your expressive skills. Whereas the portfolio and the final test will be more your receptive skills. Since that is something we can actually evaluate via online as well. Okay, just for you to, we will talk about the standards much more. And then you had the task. What did you think of the task? You have, the readings were very accessible, I think. And this is a topic that is very near to me since I conducted my research for my master's in reading strategies. So this is a topic I have been dealing with since then, going back to my country. So I studied in England and then going back with students. So I did a short study, very simple study with introspection and retrospection, and worked with two groups of students. One group was in England. They were master's and PhD students, my colleagues, some colleagues of mine and some friends. And another group was in Argentina, my secondary school students who worked with me via online. Yes, I will upload on the standards. Okay, yes, the standards. Yes, I will upload there with documents. Thank you, Barbara, for reminding. The document with the standards I will upload to the folders with documents. So thank you, Barbara. Thank you for reminding me. And as I was telling you the story of my master's, so I was in England in face-to-face with adult students. We did introspection. What they did was to see a test for the first time and start speaking. What would they do to read, to understand what they were going about to read? And with the students in Argentina, a colleague of mine worked with them with the test, the same text in class, students with different levels of proficiency. There were some students that were in the last year of secondary school, but some of them were at a C level, others were at the B level, and others were at the C level. They were A level, so there were different levels of proficiency. And so they had different difficulties in facing a text. And so then, after that, I talked to them with retrospection, so they remember what they did in class via online, via Skype. And it was interesting what I found in these groups, which were not very different. They were different ages and they had different needs with reading, but it was useful findings that then I could adapt and apply again with students in secondary school again. And it seemed, and I went back to new findings, and to find out that what I had done the first time was okay. And there was a way in which I could categorize the strategy that seemed to me understandable and that could work with different learners. So why developing the skill of reading in English? Why I became interested in this is because, well, by being a foreigner, being a second language learner, and doing a master's thesis in English, I found how important it was to develop the reading skill, since we need it for the world of academic studies. In my case, since I wanted to further my studies, I needed to read much more in English, but also the world of work. Many more documents are produced in English in whatever area that we think of, and so we need to access them. And therefore, we need to be literate in a minimum way, even in English. Then educational levels, different educational levels give a lot of importance to reading. And we know that since elementary school, we are working towards the reading abilities, the reading skill, developing this reading skill with our students. And at college level, the level you are, much more. I imagine a lot of things you do by reading, and now in online mode, much more. So this becomes fundamental. Being able to access lots of materials by reading and being able to do it quickly. Also, when you do the test, a lot of the test, an international test, is based on how well you can read. And that's inevitable, yes? You need to access bibliography, which is specialized in English, about different topics. And then you need to share those findings. Yes? Everything you find when you read, you need to be able to produce in English, even if it is a short summary, some conclusions. Next class, we will have a writing workshop. So there you will learn how to organize ideas in writing, which is also very important, even when sometimes we are not tested, but you know you are being tested in all of the skills. And the world of work requires us to do all of this, or develop all these skills. But also by learning strategies, I found along my many years of research that by making the students aware of the reading skills or the reading strategies, they could become more motivated in learning. And that were important tools I was giving them so that they would become motivated and independent by having those tools. So that's why we need to become aware whether we are in any level of secondary school, because we're thinking probably of college studies, and also in college as you are, because you are in this moment with the need of having these tools. And some of them you already know, you have already mentioned, and you already apply them. And the most important thing is that it's not only reading in a foreign language, but that these tools are transferable, and you can read in Chinese, in Spanish, in whatever, and be able to apply these strategies. If we think of Rutalka, for example, the strategic plan says that specifically that they want to strengthen the knowledge and the skills in foreign language. And so this is important, and that's why you are now preparing to test at a high level of proficiency next year, just because the university wants you to be proficient and to have this ability developed, because you are going to access a world of work, el mundo laboral, that is very, very demanding. Also, the age of technology. Imagine all of the materials only in the topic of technology that we can access by knowing English and by being able to read in English. And so then be able to apply to other settings. And that's what is important, because strategies are not bound to one area. You can adapt them and use them in new settings. And that's what the literature says. So reading strategies need to be developed in languages different from the mother tongue, which is important in a world that considers literacy in a foreign language as one of the paths to improve individuals' earning potentials. So imagine when you go to ask for a job, you will be asked if you know a foreign language. Because in the world of work, so you will have possibilities to earn more if you have this ability in another language, in a foreign language, to improve your quality of life. So the academicians already knew about this and have been studying this for a long time. So that's why it's very ad hoc that we spend some time talking about them. And so reading, what did you read about reading in the materials you read about? What is reading? It's a process. It's not a process. It's something finished from the beginning, or it's something you develop?
It's something that we develop with the time.
Yes.
We need to learn step by step.
Yes, we develop with time. Yes, with time. We go through steps. Yes. Yes, writing is the same. We go through steps and we learn a little bit more and more. And when I used to ask my high school students, what do you do when you read? They would tell me, well, I just read. Okay, Marjorie. Yes, Marjorie read about something about decoding. Excellent. So it's the process of decoding. Yeah. This is one of the processes. This is a process of decoding, but what else? So I know which each word means, but also I need to put everything together and say, oh, okay, I know the words. I know the word process, I know the word develop, but what else do I know by the end when I have the message together? What
You
do I
have
do?
to understand the meaning.
Exactly, Veronica. It's a process of understanding. Yes, it's decoding and understanding. And that's extra pressure on those who read in a foreign language. But Grave and Stoller were right. We need to consider literacy in a foreign language. And literacy is not only to know words, yes, but be literate, be able to do this, decode and understand. So sometimes sometimes it happens to me, and I have been reading in English for many years, and I just lose the trace. What am I reading about? I have to go back because we have an extra pressure since English is not our mother tongue, our native language. We need to understand the code, and sometimes some words seem to vanish. Some meanings are difficult. And therefore, we need strategies. If we are not strategic readers, we will never go to this step of understanding. Yes, okay, this is what we are talking about. And you will see that you need to read a lot, as I say, but be quick in understanding. There are some words that we can decode quickly, others will take a little bit longer. But we need to develop these strategies to be able to understand. Anything else about understanding? Getting the message and understanding, getting a message, yes? That is what we're doing in reading. What is the message? What is this person trying to say? Okay, I will have different kinds of messages. So this is reading according to my investigation. Some of the authors talk about an interactive and constructive. We didn't say that here. But in the process of decoding, we know that we are, yes, being active. We are not just passive. They are passive status. No, we are an understanding. This means we are doing something. We are not just static, passive recipients. We are interacting, constructing. And remember, since we read a little bit about constructivism, is when we put into practice what? What do we have for constructivism? What is important? It's not only this input, this material we are reading, but also what?
The background?
The background, your knowledge, excellent. There are some areas in which we do not have any background, any previous knowledge. That is true. But there are also others in which we have previous knowledge. And that is what we need to put into practice like now. And whenever you go to read chapter 2 in this book, you will be reading about some ideas about constructivism, some about behaviorism. And you will say, oh, I know this. This is something I need to understand this. And you will become very active. You cannot be passive. Favors the use of personal and cultural knowledge. Of course, knowledge about culture. Yes, knowledge about history also, development. Everything that we see about development, for example, yes, the topic reminds us of change and time, a long time. And we create meaning. A lot of we do is to create new meaning. It has to have a meaning for me. And that is what I'm doing. And what we have discovered through constructivism. That we are not just nothing, we don't come from nothing. There is something inside us and we need to activate that knowledge. That's why whenever suggested changes in your lesson plans. Okay, start with what students know, or if they don't know, you create that knowledge. You need to present the realia, the images, for them to know what the vocabulary that you want to work with means. So you're making those connections, you're creating that background. So it involves the development of linguistic knowledge, processing skills, and cognitive abilities. Again, yes, cognitivism is also there. Yes, all the processes that we have in our brains. Also, it results from the interaction and integration of information. Yes, so it's something inside us, something outside. Yes, we are always interacting with that. And what we want to obtain, as I said, is a message. What is the message of this? And the transfer of meaning from writer to reading is also transfer of message. So everything, so all of this contributes to the process of meaning. And as you can see, scholars from the 1990s onward talk a lot about constructivism. So we're building meaning, we're creating meaning. So it's not only what the test, the knowledge of the book says, let us say, but it's also our own interpretation, which is important. And therefore we have strategies. And so they are conscious. What else do you remember about strategies? Conscious, this is important, conscious. What else did I say 2 minutes ago about strategies? What are they? To help me read, to help me understand. They are? Tools. Conscious tools or conscious approaches. Conscious approaches to try to access that message, that text. And so we need them to break the code, to break this whole of the text. And the same applies for listening, for example, for writing. Yes, whenever we have these barriers that we think we don't understand, I can't start writing. So there are strategies. Yes, there are pre-writing techniques. There are pre-reading techniques, pre-listening, just to help you and become conscious of what you're going to do and be able to develop that skill. So learning strategies and strategies in general are learning processes consciously selected. So you select it. So I'm going to do this. So Carolina says, well, I am a visual learner. I will choose a strategy that goes with my learning style. And so that is what she's going to do. She's going to highlight the text because in that way she can see in color the different topics of the text. And so that's a strategy, consciously selected. So this characteristic of consciousness distinguishes strategic from non-strategic. So there are some processes that we do mechanically, yes? So we do them or we don't even think of them. But strategies are never mechanical, yes? You need to know what are you doing, what are you going to apply in this situation. They can be selected to improve the learning process or the use of a foreign language or both. They also give tools, as I was saying, for active, self-directed involvement. That's what others were saying, yes? No, not here, but in a minute. They are saying, scholars say that you become more active whenever you apply strategies. You're self-directed, you're independent. I don't depend on the teacher. And that happened in my first investigation with college students and high school students. Then my student says, and what did you do with that word? And they say, well, I will ask Miss Liliana what the word means. And that is something we do in schools. Yes, we find a lot in secondary school, in elementary school, the student being a lot dependent on the teacher. Yes. Oh, Miss, what does consciousness mean? So we are all the time depending on living dictionaries around us. But we know that if we apply strategies, we need to become more independent. We don't have the teacher next to us as a dictionary helping us. Sometimes we don't even have a dictionary, physical dictionary. We have to solve problems. And so that's the way strategies work. And therefore, you become more independent, involved, yes? Still, secondary school students in my first investigation seem very dependent on others, or not involved. The teacher will tell me what to do. And that is something we need to overcome. So collaborating proficiency improvement, of course, those that are more able to solve those problems with some obstacles, something we don't understand, or if we apply a strategy, we become more proficient, of course. Yes, we learn and more self-confident. And specific actions taken by learners to improve learning, making it easier, faster, more enjoyable, self-directed. Yes, I decide some strategies I will apply, some others not, just because some of them are more effective, and transferable. And that's important. Whatever we learn about strategies, then we can transfer to new situations. And the idea is that you become self-confident, self-directed, motivated, and able to understand that in a new situation, okay, I need to apply this. Right? Whenever you're reading about something in Spanish that is complex, you say, the strategy, okay? So transferable to new situations. And then the skill, and we were talking a little bit at the beginning about that text. There was an extra reading, which skill is more the ability, yes? So because sometimes you will find strategy and skill used in the same way, but skill is more the ability that we develop thanks to the application of those skills or strategies. And this is some ideas. These are some ideas from the text, which skill is associated with the proficiency of a complex act. So the proficiency of the act and the development of that ability. Yes, so they are related to behavioral descriptions. Yes, something you learn through practice. So by practicing the strategies, you develop the skill of reading. So they are related to habits, to abilities, to something that you develop thanks to the application of tools, of strategies. So, okay. So that's what so here you need to create your own graphic organizer. I will see them in your tasks. And the categories. But what can you say about categories? How did you categorize? I could categorize the strategies I studied because I studied them and I read about them. But you had the first readings. How did you categorize the strategies? What did you find in the reading? What was the most famous, or which kind of categories did you find?
Through the moment of the reading?
Yes, exactly. And that comes in the research immediately. Whenever I was with my participants in face-to-face, doing introspection with them, they would immediately start with a pre-reading, just looking at the text. They would say, oh, it's an interesting topic. Oh, it's long, it is short. I know about this topic, and they will immediately start organizing this task. And so that happens in reality. Yes, that is probably is a learned behavior, something we learned in school, probably. The most important thing is that even when it is not something out of the blue, but it's something useful, yes? So probably we learn these behaviors in schools, and as the literature says, it's transferable, yes? We transfer to new situations. Even we learned this in primary school, okay, but it's useful now. And so the moment in which you are in the reading process is important, and that appears in the investigation. So there are other ways to categorize them, and we have different authors. Here, Urquhart and Weir and Beyer, well, it depends how, if this is German, it's Beer, explain how human beings react in order to solve problems and attain their goals. So you know you have a goal, you have something to do, you need to read this chapter, you need to read this, finish the task, you have a goal. And this focus on strategies has made the whole operation of reading more learner-centered. Yes, because now it's you. We are giving you the tools, the text, now it's you. You cannot be asking the professor every word or about different situations. You need to solve the problems. Oxford, Rebecca Oxford, who has been writing about learning strategies for a long time, as you see, lots of years, but still very, very, contemporary, because nothing has been said new about this, divides these strategies in direct and indirect. Some of them involve directly the target language and require mental processing of the language. So this is more, these are the strategies that directly refer to the language itself. So memory, cognitive strategies. Those that help us understand the language, even if we read in our mother tongue, sometimes we're going to read things in Spanish that are out of our easy access. So still we need to work with some compensation strategies, try to find out what we know about that. And others are indirect strategies. Those are the ones that support the language learning. Yes, so they include metacognitive, social, and affective strategies. So some of the strategies we use when, as I said, when I saw these people organizing the task, they are not direct languages, the strategies. They don't refer exactly to the reading or to the language topic, but they refer to organization of the task. Metacognitive strategies. Or affective strategies, even when they say, oh, this is my favorite topic, the topic of the text. So they were trying to organize the world outside of the mere reading. And that's also, those strategies are also important. Urquhart and Weir talked about cognitive and metacognitive, and they are paired with direct and indirect. So metacognition here, according to Upton, is the learner's awareness of his or her own learning and thinking process. So whenever you are thinking, okay, to solve this problem, I need to apply this strategy, I need to organize the reading in this way, you're using indirect strategies. You are using metacognition, yes? And those are the most successful learners and readers, because they monitor how well they understand what they read, and they recognize when they do not understand and look for ways to understand. So that happens to all of us. I was reading this book, this chapter, and I said, okay, but sometimes I lose track. Okay, let's go back. No, this is not working. There is a word I lost that word and I went out of track. Okay, I have to recognize that. So when we say little children do not understand reading, for example, it's probably because they haven't developed metacognitive strategies. How are they going to know in grade 2, grade 3? They're very young, but they need to be educated, yes? They need to be taught that they need to develop these strategies, to know, to monitor, yes, and know when they have lost tracks, we need to go back and reread. And therefore, Urquhart and Beer talk about cognitive strategies that include mental processes and give readers the possibility of accomplishing different actions, scheming, word meaning, yes, solving problems with the language directly, and metacognitive strategies that are concerned with reflecting about experience and say, okay, I understood everything, I didn't understand something, I need to go back. So these are also ways to categorize strategies, but the one I am going to, I respect your idea that it's better to organize them in, but this is for you to know, and metacognition is very important in reading, according to the time. And this is what appeared in my investigation, and then I did it also with secondary school students again, and it works like this. So how do we divide them into pre-reading, while reading, and after reading? And these are the most common ones. Establish a purpose for reading. What do I need to do? What's my goal, my objective? Overview the text, link it to previous knowledge. Preview the type, the typography. Do we have big writings or letters, small ones? It is long, it is short. Do we have pictures, charts? So everything that can help me support my understanding. Then you have the while reading. And here is when we choose the note-taking technique, but also when we create mental linkages. So this, I mentioned when Carolina said about, talked about her style, learning style, how we need to create mind maps, for example, and sometimes they're mental, yes? Just joining ideas mentally, just in your mind, to group them, associate them. But you also can do them by writing, yes? And choose a note-taking technique is fundamental. Yes? You need to write, to summarize, to highlight, underline, do something. And that's why I also added the note-taking sheets, worksheets, last week, for you to have an idea of how you can also annotate and take your ideas, the most important ideas. Then the main idea, again, having a clear idea of what we're talking about, what is the text about, and you have skimming and scanning, different kinds of reading according to what you need to do. And that's why also strategies are important. If you don't need specific information, you just skim or quickly select certain areas or certain paragraphs and get the main idea. But if you need specific information, then you need to read in a different way, yes, and pay attention more to details. So in those senses is when you become so much aware, yes, and you are all the time evaluating. How are you going to read this? It's very long, 80 pages. Okay, it's too long, but there is a way, yes, by just looking for the most important information, the most important ideas, the most important titles. Then you also have 5 answers. If you ask questions at the beginning, try to find the answers. That's another way in which you can annotate. Solving the problems with new words, Sometimes you don't have access to find dictionaries, so you need to be able to guess meaning from the context. The famous, it's a famous strategy that you will be putting into practice a lot, hopefully. And making connections to topics you already know, as we said, all the time, evaluating, what do I know about this? There's something I can relate this to, so that I can, yes, create these mental linkages. And paying attention, always paying attention. You always go back, you reread. It's never linear. It's not that you start and you finish. No, you go back. You are always checking. And evaluating, judging, evaluating how well this reading went. And finally, we have the after reading strategies. When you cooperate with others, it's a great strategy. Whenever you have read everything and you check with others, that's great before exams. For example, we used to do a lot in college, just study alone and then meet one day to exchange all our ideas. That's a great strategy. That's a collaborating and for cooperating. And then organize the content and integrate new and existing knowledge to produce something in written or in oral. And that is what you will be doing, reading and then expressing that in oral exposition or writing. So summarizing or using that information in some way. So this is not the only one. These are the most useful and repetitive of the strategies according to application and research, but they're not the only ones, and you have probably found the same or similar or probably different ones. Everything is valuable according to their use and how useful they are and how you use them, apply them to new situations in reading. And you organize yourselves, yes. So as I said, I found a lot of connections between motivation and strategy, because the learner strategies help students attend to tasks, focus on important features, structure activities, organize and handle materials independently, and maintain a productive psychological climate. So whenever you're applying these strategies, according to Don Ye, the scholar who has written the most on motivation, he's a Hungarian scholar, the more you apply them, the more you will be involved in that climate of learning, because it depends on you. You are the center. So nobody will be there with you telling you what to do. It's something you need to organize and be able to solve. So that's why I had given you, okay, for example, the graphic organizers, whenever I tell you, okay, choose a note-taking technique, not this one is one of them, you have many more. It's because you are already given this independence. Okay, I will choose the best way to express, to annotate these ideas. And there are two more that we used to do a lot with pre-service teachers in the United States. One is the note-taking, note-making, and they used to complete lots of these pages with note-taking, note-making until my supervisor knew they had understood how to do this. Yeah. So here they would take the most important ideas, and here they will write them, rewrite them in your own words. So it's a good technique. It's a good technique for you to focus, yes, on, first of all, what the text says, but then on how are you going to express that? How do you understand? And that takes us back to when we said about reading, we are creating meaning. This is the meaning for me. This is what I understand. Yes, no, not here, but here, okay? So we create meaning. That's what Upton says. And build meaning, Newton. So we need to we need to be able to, in some way, show what we understand of this reading. That's why this note-taking technique is so useful, as well as this one, which is similar, but instead of 2, has 3 sections in which you write the references. Here you take notes using whichever. So here you can do a mind map or a graphic organizer, your own understanding, and here is the summary in words, your understanding as well. So you always see you go in this process, the text, the ideas from the text, and then how do I say them in my words, my expression. Okay, do we understand? So is it clear? Of course, you will go back and reread this. Is that okay so far? Sure?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this is a little bit of background. Okay, a little bit of background about the book. I will show it to you. So we change a little bit the pace. Yes, exactly. Constanza, thank you. Okay, so I will show you a little bit about the book. It is in the library. If you would like to see, you can go and pick them up. Okay, you can pick the book up and have a look at it. This is the cover, the book cover. So you're invited to whenever it is open. So this is the book cover. Okay. An Introduction to Child Development by Thomas Keenan, Subhadra Evans, and Kevin Crowley. And it is a book written by psychologists, so it's a new area for us. The language is academic language, and you will see it's not so difficult. The words are not so specific, so it's not to be understood. And the ones that are written in with a special meaning are explained. So it's a great way of learning. This book, let me tell you, was included in the module called Psychology. So you will be reading ahead, a little bit ahead, of course. I do not know whether the academician in charge of the module can read in English, but you will have this pre-reading experience of that book. And probably you will see again next year some of these topics. So this first chapter, so you have an outline, and that's when you start analyzing. Okay, so this is, okay, so we have main titles, subtopics here. Okay, I have a glossary, very important, because some words are explained there. Others are here, and they're very easy to find because they're written in different colors, for example. You see, so you have different colors just to find new explanations. So those are the ways in which you start browsing the text, yes, and trying to understand these new readings. Yeah? So whatever it talks, so you already explained to me that development, just because of the name of the module, meant a change, so that you were right. In general, this first chapter talks about the patterns, so how developmental psychology talks about patterns of change over time. It's a new area within psychology, so it's in process. They also have a lot of influence from different lines of academicians, psychologists, sociologists, and have been that are considered to have given some kind of support or some kind of new knowledge to this area. So it goes from beginning at conception, and they continue throughout the lifespan, meaning all the time that we are alive. Of course, the book concentrates on child development, but many authors talk about the development along life. Yes, not only about childhood, which is also interesting for us. So it talks about different specific topics, specific differentiation. For example, the word different, we know, but the word differentiation means it has a special use in this context, meaning how this development is a progressive ability to make more distinctions about stimuli, concepts, or behaviors. So sometimes development is understood as a process of differentiation. Okay, so you develop because you learn new stimuli, new concepts, and new behaviors, or because you integrate, yes? You link together basic acquired behaviors into new behaviors. So for example, these two concepts can appear. So sometimes you learn, you evolve, you develop, and these two concepts can imply something there. And then you have maturation and nurture, meaning that you develop maturation according to something inside you, which is your gene. You are genetically, let us say, coded to mature, yes, to develop, to change. Or you can change and mature because you receive from outside nurture. Nurture es como el alimento, la alimentación, something una nutrición, something I receive from outside, and the environment is responsible for that development. So you have these two views. Either you develop because it's something inside you, or because there's something outside that makes us develop. And whenever you read what you need to read, again, in this chapter 2, you will also have psychologists that have these two positions, whether the human being develops because of inner coding, yes, something that is inside us, or because of the external influences on us. So that's very general. That's why we talk about contextualism. And it's interesting in the book because the book refers a lot to cultural, to historical context. So it's ourselves and also what surrounds us, our society, our culture, our historical moment. It's not the same people who are living this time in life as people living 100 years ago. So also talks about mechanism and organism. And mechanism, we will understand quickly because it talks about something mechanic, therefore something developmental that refers to quantitative changes, yes, in behavior. So emphasize the factors from outside the organism to play a major role in developmental change. Whereas organicism refers to more qualitative features of developmental change, in which we emphasize the organism's role in bringing up the change and bringing about the changes. So this is internal and external. So again, psychologists will also be going back and forth whether development change refers more to our inner role, yes, as organism in bringing these changes, or something outside the organism. So again, we have maturation or nurture. Experience also. Nurture can also be experience. Everything that we experience helps us learn and grow or not, or something inside. So those are more or less some of the vocabulary you need to know If you have any more questions, you go back to that one. But in reality, what you're going to be reading is chapter 2. Chapter 2. But also not a complete chapter. We are going to have jigsaw reading. So you will read different. So we have lots of theories there. I have also another lottery. And you will read different parts of the chapter. They're not very long. And they tell you different theories about development. Yes? And some of them are more knowledge, more easier to understand things, or more, I wanted to say more known to us, so are better known to us in the sense that we have heard about them probably in secondary school. Others probably are less known to us just because probably we have never heard before, but it's something new, always good. It's good always to read about something new. And the vocabulary, as I said, since it is academic, it's easy to access, but nevertheless, you will have some strategies to help you. Always think of the words, for example. Always think of the words. They all words we can understand in Spanish. Yes, and they come from Latin, most of them. So we have to make that idea that we need to use the words we have there in the text to understand why are they there and what can they mean. They cannot be so far away from what we know from before. There are also other techniques in which you're going to learn how to develop vocabulary. We will leave that for further. But for the time being, you will have some. So you always need to look at the words you don't understand and try to see how they are connected to others in the same sentence. If there is a section of the word that you understand, and therefore contextualism, I have never seen, but I know context. So this part of the word I know. So yes, I can understand what this is about. And organicism, probably it's a new way to write this word. And for example, it's not even known or recognized in the program, but we know that organic is something I know, it's something from the organism, something from organs, something from individuals. And this is something mechanic, yeah, probably. Something mechanic, something from a machine, probably it's not a human being here necessarily. So we need to make those connections. Remember when we were looking at words like behaviorism, but we know behavior, or cognitivism. We have never seen, but we know cognitive. So which is the word near that we know? Okay. And then we will see there are other ways of annotating vocabulary also to help you understand. And remember, these are words from an academic level. So these are not the words that you're going to find in common readings. So they're also a little bit more demanding. Okay, so whenever you sit to reflect about the task, so complete the sentence in as many ways as possible. An effective way to understand what you read is, how can I complete this? One idea.
Reread when I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Apply a strategy. Yes, reread. An effective way to understand what you read is by asking yourself questions, whether to see if this process was successful. Yes, excellent. Why are reading strategies important? And you have a lot explained here. But one idea why they're important in one word or in 2 words? Okay. Because they give you what? Something important.
They give us tools.
Tools to
Or
understand. Yes. Yes, exactly. Tools to help you understand something. And which of the strategies you already applied before, yes? In high school, in college, for example, Carolina was talking about highlighting or creating or writing or creating, yes, a mind map. All of those charts, remember the charts, all of those are strategies you already knew and applied. So just think of them because you already know them and use them. Okay, so the reading of chapter 2, but you're not alone. You have some questions that are made by me. So you can also have them or not, but also be able to connect on your, because of your own knowledge, yes. And the task, let me show you the task. The task already presents you with a snapshot, yes, the most important, yeah, the most important. So here in this chart, you have a snapshot of some of the most important strategies. If they are not all here, just please use it, it doesn't matter. Yes, so you know, you prepare your reading, you know you need to access some information that is new for you, prepare your reading, try to find out everything you know before, overview the text, we're going to overview together. It's a long chapter, but you're not reading everything, you're reading one theory and by lottery and another one that you choose according to your interest. And then preview the text. Do you have explanations for the pictures, charts, everything that can help you in the reading? And then while reading, again, you organize or semantic mappings, you write to it, but you don't need to do the same graphic organizer always. You need probably to start a new one or find out a better way to express those ideas and get the main idea. Always have an idea. Okay, this theory is about evolution. Okay, I need to know, that main idea I need to be clear about. And then you're going to use that information in one activity here, in some explanation here I ask you. So the most important thing is that I have some questions to guide you so that you are, so more or less that you know what are you going to find. What is a theory? So this is the first those 2 pages and they explain to you, so what is a theory? What do theories do? And we have been talking about theories, right? And you have heard about theories a lot along your studies. What do they do? Why are they important? And how are theories of human development different from others? And remember, the book has this position that this is a new area, a developing area within psychology. But it's more or less comprehension, very general, very, very easy to find in the text. We are beginning, yes, at the beginner level, this is appropriate. And then you will read the section Theories of Human Development, the theory selected, yes, and choose a note making, yes. So there are several pages because there are like 9 different theories, but as I say, you're not reading everything. You will read the name of the theory, you will refer to, so this is a note taking, yes. You're choosing a note taking, it can be a chart, or whatever. So more or less, all of these elements are present in these texts. The name, representative scientists, psychologists, the main concepts, what does this theory understand, yes, in development. They're all referring to development in human beings. If there are main laws, some of them might not have, but many of them have laws, like for example, Piaget's theory follows certain laws. So children go through different stages in like like going up a ladder. So it has certain laws. Yes, also Freud has stages in the life of children according to which you go from one to the other. Yes, and there is a way in which you pass from one to the other. So there might be some law according to which you cannot go from stage 1 to stage 4. Yes, no, you have to go in order. So for example, these kind of laws, if you find them. How are tested some of them, and you will see that the chapter has like some chart, no, they're not charts, we're going to see them, in which they have, for example, the summaries of different studies, of different research done according to different theories. So if there are certain studies, research done in this area, and the limitations, because all of the theories at some point have some limitations, some criticism, and you will find this information. But the most important thing and most challenging is the after reading. So after reading this, how are these theories important to understand children and how they learn at school? Some of them are very much related to constructivism, to learning from the context. So some of them are very much used in education. Some others might be more restrictive in the case of how they are directly involved in education. So there we need your creativity. Remember, you're creating a meaning. You're creating a meaning, and all of these theories are useful in one way or other. So it's not much. We will pre-read now. Just have a view, some preview of the text as the theory indicates. Okay, let me check if this is the one. Oh no, but this is chapter 1. Yes, chapter 1. So chapter 1 is there for you to have some backup. Okay, and we have here. Okay, I am trying to get the chapter. Okay, chapter 2. Yes, chapter 2. Here we have the outline, and we have all the theories. And then the cognitive. The cognitive you're not reading yet, okay? So it's up to here. Not the cognitive, which are the ones we are going to read later. And so you have here a good preview. What is theory? Only 2 pages. Theories of human development. There you have a photo. And then you start with the names of the theories. Psychodynamic, psychosocial. Okay, then, so probably this one is more difficult to know what it's about. We need to read, but psychosocial, some elements from social, yes, from the context. That's why we need, okay, for this psychologist, context, society is important. We have a photo. Some of these pages were difficult to scan. So
Teacher,
to be more, yes.
we are just, at least me, I can just see your folder. We are not seeing the PDF.
Okay. The name of the, okay. Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay, so it seems to have a lot of words, but they are not long. Remember, we have here what is theories on only 2 pages. And then this is an introduction. And then we have the theories. So this one, psychodynamic, could be more difficult to know what it is about, but I was saying, for example, but it's short. It's 1.5 pages. But for example, psychosocial is more understandable for us because it's talking about something about society, something social. So we are more, so we are probably happier to read this one. And we have photos, as you can see. Some of these were difficult to find. Some of them were very, very light, the original color, so difficult to scan. So I tried to find the best definition for that. Then we have developmental task theory, and it refers to task, yes, so you know what the task is, and to development. So there are tasks according to this theory, which is very short, as you can see. And then you have behaviorism, and then you start, oh, okay, we read about this last year, so I'm not so lost. So many of the psychologists talked and research behaviorism and social learning, or learning in society. So this might not be so confusing. And that's what I am saying. You have like these sections in which you have a short description of a research study. You can read them. I'm not asking, some of them are interesting, some not so interesting. We're not paying attention to them, but yes, to the different psychologists that work with different theories. Then the ethological, and probably again we do not know the origin of this word, but you have it explained immediately at the beginning. So always read the beginning of paragraphs, and there you have important information. So it's the perspective of study of animal behavior. And Charles Darwin immediately, okay, we read about him in school. So that has to do something with Darwin. Evolutionary development, and we know that there are different theories of evolution of human beings, and Darwin is involved in that one. We have seen also in History Channel a lot. Then we have the bioecological model. Okay, we can have an idea from the title. It's not very long. Oh, probably it's 2 hours. No, it's again. So we have a bioecological model, and we have, do I have it? Probably it's repeated. Oh, sorry, it's repeated, sorry. So if you see the numbers repeated, don't pay attention. So here is the bioecological. So here, this is important. Whenever you have this chart, you say, oh, this, what is a figure? Okay, this can help me understand. So the words may be confusing, but then I have here a figure. Okay, so this is an individual level, a micro system, a macro system. Okay, so that can help me understand. So all of this is what I'm looking at the beginning. Yes, so here is another study, very short. Then you have life course theory, 40, 41, and dynamic systems. And that's it. Okay. So you're focusing that you're reading probably 2 pages, 2 pages and a half. They're not very long. And this is a very demanding, because it was the original is very light. In case you cannot read, you ask me and I will send you a photo in case you cannot read this page, but it was very difficult to scan. Okay, so there you have a preview. And what I'm going to do, just not to delay you more, is to do the lottery myself and send you the names. And then you choose something for example, you're more interested in what, I don't know, the evolution. Okay, you read that one. You're more interested in behaviorism, see what they did with social learning theory and behaviorism. Is that clear? Girls?
Yes.
Okay, so
So you are going to do the
I will give
the
you
lottery
one
right now.
So I will give you one reading, mandatory, and another one that you choose according to what you see. You can skim. Yes, okay, this seems interesting, or no, this is not interesting for me. It is about animals. I am not interested. Yes. Okay, so for example, and here I have the lottery. Do you want to write down now, and then I will send you via email again the result of the lottery, or
maybe you can upload it to Educandus.
yes, I will upload to Educandus. Perfect. And so you will have the, and then what else? Okay. So for next class, remember you will upload the task there in a task in Educandus. And do we have anything pending? I think so. Next class we will have a writing workshop, and for that you will read the other part of the chapter, which is short. Okay, so okay.
Teacher.
Yes.
Can you make a summary? What do we need to do for next class?
Yes, a summary. Yes, that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to write. So, oh, well, okay. It writes wherever. So complete the task called reading.
Teacher.
Yes.
You are not sharing the screen.
The screen. Sorry. The screen. Sharing screen. So again, I am back. Out there. Okay. So here, reading. So you have a new task, which I am going to upload to Educandus. Next class is the 28th of September. It doesn't allow me to write so easily. September, okay. And here, okay. It's complex to start. Okay, no, it doesn't allow me to write. I'm missing something at some point. Okay. No, it doesn't allow me to write. Okay. Okay, don't worry, I have a solution. Okay, so you will complete the task. Complete the task. It is called the Reading Strategies Application. But remember, this is a process you do by consciousness, applying application task by applying the different reading strategies. This is something conscious. Okay.
Teacher.
Yes.
That is task 2.
Task 2. Yes, it has a name. Is this the name? This is the name. You're going to find it on Educandus. I'm going to upload task 2. Yes.
Thank you.
And Barbara and Fernanda are preparing. What are you preparing? The warm-up activity on standard 1. Standard 1. Okay, and you have in the lesson plan the instructions, yes, and in the evaluation you also go up the slides, and you will find the description. So a short presentation, what it is about, and some work, some interactive work for classmates.
Teacher?
Okay, yes, anything else? Here, yes.
So for the presentation of the standards, we don't have a rubric?
No, you will have, yes, you have the instructions, and you have the checklist. Do you remember, were you here when I showed the checklist? You have the checklist on Educandus, yes. You have all the areas and the different grades. And here, remember, Remember, everyone will need to say something. Be prepared to say something, yes? I talked a lot today. I'm so thirsty. Okay. Well, but I was very, very demanding today because I was talking about the strategy. But next, yes, next class, you will be prepared to say something short, one sentence about one theory, okay, that you read about. Yes, Veronica?
Can you show the standards again, please?
Yes, the standard slide again. Yes, we will check here. So we will begin. Standard one here, Fernanda and Barbara. Okay. Standard two, Camila and Valentina. Next week. And Valentina, Magdalena, Liliana, standard 3. Up to there, and then Joanna and Marjorie will have standard 4, and we will the standard. Okay?
So we only have to do the standard 3?
3.
Not
Yes.
3 and 5.
No, 3. 5, we will again do the lottery so that you're not so near one to the other.
Okay.
Okay, yes, the lottery is a little bit faulty. Okay. So I will read. Okay, be prepared for this. Be prepared. Okay, here, okay. Be prepared to read on Educandos be prepared. Okay, to read about the theory assigned to you. Okay, so I will write that lottery. I will do on my own, so it's not to keep you longer. And what else? And I think this is the most important. These are the most important things. You have something to read. It's not so much. Remember, it's next week we will be doing writing. Even when we do a little bit of writing, you will be doing a little bit of reading, but that will not be so much. Okay, and please be prepared to say something short about one theory, one sentence, 2 sentences, the most important. This theory is about evolution of the human race. This theory takes into account the whole life. This other theory takes into account childhood, whatever is the most important. And remember, it's very important what you are, your learning process, what you learn, how is this important to understand children in schools, okay? If not, if you find it too hard, we can do together some process here of brainstorming. But the process of understanding human beings is always important, and children in education. Okay, girls, are we okay? It's not so much reading. Sorry for having talked a lot, but okay. Barbara, okay, stay, Barbara, so we talk. And I hope to hear you, you talking a little bit more next class, okay? Are we okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay then, girls, you're free.
Profe.
Yeah.
Bueno, lo que yo le quería decir es que estuvimos conversando con las chicas y igual, bueno, esta clase de por sí es muy larga.
Sí, es muy larga.
Sí, y tiene mucho contenido, entonces queríamos plantearles si podríamos entre, por ejemplo, una hora y otra tomar un receso de 10 minutos para que no sea demasiado extenso el tramo.
Ok, sí, yo no quiero cortar, chicas, perdón, pero para que no tengan más problemas con la conexión, pero sí, no hay problema. Hoy sí, porque había que presentar lo de las estrategias y demás. Así que, yes, ok.
Sí, eso era más que nada, porque igual, bueno, se nos hace muy largo las 2 horas así como de corrido.
Sí, es verdad. Yo porque no quiero que se les corte o que gasten más, simplemente es eso. Así que por eso la última lottery ya la hago sola para no retenerla. Pero bárbaro. Sí, cuando hagamos writing me recuerdo de unos minutos hacer un break.
Sí, sería bueno, profe.
Ok.
Gracias igual.
No, gracias chicas, siempre. Entonces, please, we'll see you next week. If there's nothing else.
Okay, see you.
See you girls, nice to see you.
Bye, bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Hola, profesora.
¿Sí?
¿Cómo está? Soy Elizabeth.
Elizabeth,